Aren't they beautiful? This tree is not as loaded as it usually is, but we still have a lot of plums on it. Let me stand back so you can see the whole tree. Can you tell I don't prune? Don't know how to prune. And it still does its magic. So we can only eat so many fresh plums a day. So today we're gonna make some plum fruit leather. It is so delicious. My granddaughters just love it. It's probably their most favorite thing that we make all summer. These are so good. They don't really keep for even 24 hours and they start to get drippy and stuff. So we have to have a plan for something to do with these. I kind of think if I could only plant one thing, carrots, cabbage, tomatoes, I think I would plant a fruit tree. I think I would definitely plant a fruit tree. You get so much from one tree and you really don't have to do a lot to it. I mean, you could prune it like you're supposed to and all that good stuff. I don't even water the thing and it grows all by itself with no care from me. And it gives us wonderful, delicious fruit every year. I think I would definitely pick a fruit tree, maybe even a plum. These are really good. When my kids were younger, they each picked a tree at the nursery. That one's not quite ready. And my daughter, Shauna, picked this plum tree. And I'm glad she did. It's very nice and tasty. So I got all of them that I could pick without using a ladder. So it doesn't really matter how many you have. You can just adjust the recipe accordingly. I'll show you how. Well, there's really not a recipe. I just kind of throw things together and blend them and cook them and they become fruit leather. But I'll show you how I do it anyways. So the first thing we're gonna do is wash these guys. I don't have a ton in here today. I just made a big batch, 3 pans worth yesterday. And so I'm just gonna wash all the plums. See where there's like a little, I'll cut that out. Now tonight I'm making pineapple plum fruit leather. You can make whatever kind of fruit leather you want using the exact same process. If you're gonna use a harder fruit like an apple or something, you're gonna wanna cook it down till it's soft first. As you'll see, we're gonna blend up the fruit, and if the apple is still hard, it just won't blend well. But peaches, nectarine, apricots, plums, pineapple, any of those soft fruits, you don't actually have to cook it first. You can just blend it and make your leather. I will be adding a 16-ounce bag of frozen pineapple to this leather. I do that because plums are a little bit sour. If you don't add a really sweet fruit to them, they end up pretty tart, which my grandkids like, my kids like, but it's not my favorite. All right, I'm just gonna pineapple. Now the amount of plums to pineapple is just random. It's just whatever it is. Usually I do whatever I pick and then I just add some pineapple to it. If I end up with less, it'll be a little tartar. If I end up with more, it'll be a little sweeter. But I'm just gonna be taking the pits out of the plums and putting them into the blender. So you don't have to peel them or anything, you just take the pit out. And this batch ends up being about half and half. Then I line a jelly roll pan. It's like a cookie sheet, only it's got a bigger lip with parchment, and then pour directly onto the parchment. Now when you're pouring it, go real slow. You want to just have it spread out on its own where it wants to go, but not off of the parchment paper. So I just kind of go close to the edge. I feel like when I just slowly pour it out, it tends to come out pretty even on how thick it is. It just kind of spreads out as long as your pan is on a flat surface. And actually, if it does run off into the pan, it's not that hard to clean up. It washes pretty easy. All right, so that's what it looks like before I put it into the oven. And now I'm going to very carefully and slowly walk this to the oven to try not to slosh it around. All right, so I made it to the oven. I'll just pop this in here all the way. The lowest oven temperature is 170. At 170, I let it bake for about 8 hours, and then I check it. 8 hours always seems to be about right. So I ended up with 2 trays in this oven, and enough mixture for I think 1 more tray. Probably more than 1 more tray, but at least 1 more. So I'll see you in 8 hours. All right, it is done. Now, I literally cut them with a pair of scissors. I wash them first, and then I just cut strips. Yeah. So then I just cut these little guys into strips. So color is a good indication. This one is a little overdone. It was on the bottom shelf. This one is pretty perfect. It still has that nice pinkish color. But I tasted this one and it's not bad. It's just crispier. And then the last step is gonna be to package it up. And for that, I just stick it into mason jars and store it until they eat it all up, which last year we had it until I think February. So they eat it fast and I make a lot. So there we go. I do make a batch of this every single day until we have no more plums. When the plums are dwindling and maybe I'm only getting, you know, 5 or 6 plums a day, I will often just toss them in the freezer until I have enough to do a batch, and it works great. Well, that's all I've got for today. So until next time, see ya.